The celebrities are gossiping about drama amid Baldoni.
And that what in fact happened was Justin didn't harass Blake. Blake was interested in wresting control of this movie away from Justin, who was the director and the producer. She was just an actress in it.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds believed that launching a lawsuit against Baldoni would boost their public relations strategy. At least now they realize it may backfire on them. Fresh photos show Ryan Reynolds leaving his home state of New York on Wednesday, sparking quiet whispers and bold speculation across journalism circles and the Hollywood scene.
Forlorn Blake Lively breaks cover far from Hollywood as insiders reveal new private battle and creeping regret.
It appears Lively may be second-guessing her choice to sue Baldoni, as both she and her husband seem to be facing heavy fallout from it. Let's go over some context behind one of Hollywood's most dramatic legal showdowns. Justin Baldoni, widely recognized for the tear-jerking film It Ends With Us, has launched a lawsuit. And who else ended up pulled into the courtroom glare? None other than Ryan Reynolds, aka Mr. Deadpool, alongside his real-life gossip girl, Blake Lively, star actress.
Baldoni. He has fought back yet again. He filed a lawsuit against the New York Times, which he had Brian Friedman on to discuss, saying it had done a defamatory report on Blake Lively's claims that she was allegedly harassed by this guy when they shot the movie It Ends With Us, a film about domestic violence.
What reportedly happened is that Lively filed a lawsuit against Baldoni in December 2024, alleging that he behaved inappropriately toward her during work on set. Ryan Reynolds, known for being very supportive of his spouse, publicly stood by Lively and was said to have had tense, personal exchanges with Baldoni. Some accounts even describe a heated confrontation in a Manhattan penthouse with Blake Lively present that later became part of the wider swirl of claims, counterclaims, and media attention surrounding the dispute.
Penthouse in Manhattan, where Ryan Reynolds allegedly bullied Justin so badly that a Sony representative who was there, the production team behind the movie, and her biggest takeaway was, I am very sorry that I let him get away with doing that to Justin. It was so...
Some online chatter suggests Blake and Ryan were aiming for major creative influence over the film's direction, tone, and overall vision, though that part remains speculative. There are also claims from unnamed sources that competitiveness with other big Hollywood names played into tensions, but none of that is verified. Another narrative floating around says the couple pushed a strong PR response against Baldoni and tried to rally industry support, while critics argue the media coverage itself became part of the controversy. What makes the situation feel even more dramatic to observers is that Ryan and Justin were once seen as friendly peers, often appearing together at events and fundraisers, which makes the reported fallout seem like a sharp turn. As the dispute escalated, accusations, reputation concerns, and industry pressure all blended into a messy public battle, with different sides describing events in completely different ways.
A bunch of text messages and emails between Baldoni and his PR team. Baldoni ended up being dropped from William Morris Agency, which is one of the biggest agencies in the world.
Some observers believe the couple appeared confident, possibly encouraged by Baldoni's initial silence, though that interpretation comes from commentary rather than confirmed facts. There are also industry opinions suggesting that major creative conflicts on emotionally driven films can make casting professionals uneasy. One version of events circulating online claims Baldoni felt pushed aside from his own project, which he strongly disputes, and that serious allegations and counter-allegations escalated the conflict. From that perspective, the legal battle is being framed as a reaction to feeling professionally and personally attacked, but the situation remains a contested dispute with sharply different accounts from those involved.
Shine has spoken out against lead actress Blake Lively, disputing her claims of an unsafe and inappropriate filming environment during a key scene in the movie.
He later filed a massive lawsuit against Lively, Reynolds, and a public relations figure, arguing that his reputation and career were damaged and that he was publicly humiliated. From his side, bringing Reynolds into the case is framed as part of holding everyone he believes was involved accountable. Baldoni and his legal team have said they intend to challenge the allegations strongly and present their version of events in court. As things move forward, Both sides are positioning evidence and arguments, and a lot of specific claims being discussed online are tied to particular scenes and moments that each side interprets very differently, which is why the legal process, not headlines, is where those details ultimately get examined.
Accused director Justin Baldoni of casting his personal friend, Monshine, for an intimate scene that involved close physical proximity to her during a simulated childbirth sequence. Lively described the choice as invasive and humiliating, further alleging that the set was chaotic, improperly closed.
According to some retellings of the situation, the scene in question was an intense childbirth moment meant to carry strong emotional weight, and it involved close physical staging between actors that was reportedly planned in advance as part of the script and production setup. Supporters of that view say the blocking and tone were discussed beforehand and cleared through the usual professional channels, with the understanding that it would be handled tastefully. However, interpretations of that same scene later became a point of disagreement, with Lively's side reportedly viewing the experience very differently in hindsight and referencing it as part of her broader complaints, while Baldoni's side has suggested it was a pre-approved creative decision. Like much in this dispute, the meaning and intent behind that moment are being described in completely opposite ways depending on who is telling the story, which is why it has become such a debated piece of the larger legal conflict.
Now Monshine is publicly pushing back. Quote unquote, my experience working with her is very different than the one she described in her lawsuit, he told Page Six. Indeed, I was surprised to read her description of the scene. Monshine explained that Lively was not nearly unclothed as her lawsuit suggests. Instead, he states she wore a full hospital gown, black shorts, and torso.
Days or weeks after the scene, news surfaced that Adam is actually a friend of none other than Justin Baldoni, the very same Justin Baldoni who is now suing Blake and Ryan. Suddenly, Blake claimed that the moment in the birth scene was super inappropriate. According to reports, her discomfort wasn't about the physical positioning itself, but rather whose friend was involved. Critics online quickly labeled this a masterclass in delayed awareness, questioning whether it was coincidence, awkward timing, or a convenient revelation. Many people on social media argued that Blake was attempting to rewrite history with a sharpe, wondering why she would have agreed to the scene in the first place if she was going to retroactively regret it. Casting directors watching from the sidelines asked themselves the same question. If the scene was greenlit, rehearsed, blocked, and filmed with a dozen crew members present, what is there really to be upset about? As expected, Blake's claims are facing backlash, with some asserting that Adam's testimony contradicts her sexual harassment allegations, highlighting the risk of her claims backfiring in the ongoing legal battle.
Yes, we don't shut up.
And Emily and I have we have these moments where
staring. You just stare.
Literally we've done it for 5 minutes. it's like, I think you would find it terrifying. It's literally.
The rest of Blake's claims about feeling uncomfortable on the set of It Ends With Us are addressed by Baldoni on his extensive 168-page website, which is designed to provide detailed context and evidence supporting his innocence. The site reportedly includes text messages, voice recordings, and behind-the-scenes footage showing that Baldoni and Lively interacted professionally and cordially throughout the production. According to these materials, Lively appeared comfortable around Baldoni's team, participating in the set environment without obvious distress. Several commentators and journalists, including Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly, have analyzed the footage in detail, highlighting moments that suggest Lively was relaxed and at ease while working with Baldoni. The compilation is intended to demonstrate that, contrary to her allegations, the interactions on set were friendly and professional, and that the accusations of discomfort may not align with what actually occurred. This evidence has become a central talking point in the ongoing legal and media discussions surrounding the case.
Words coming in from the celebrities at the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary, asking why Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds were even there. Also, Justin Baldoni's lawyer has some choice words about it.
The footage shows Blake laughing and smiling with Baldoni, and nothing about it appears inappropriate or concerning. Despite her claims of feeling uncomfortable during the scene, the evidence paints a different picture, suggesting she was at ease on set. In response to the controversy and the publicized allegations, Hollywood insiders and industry players have reportedly begun distancing themselves from the couple, effectively boycotting Blake and Ryan. The combination of widely circulated footage and conflicting claims has fueled speculation and criticism, leaving the once favored pair facing increased scrutiny and a noticeable shift in how the industry views them.
No, has not hosted. He's guest starred. He was in the monologue once or twice. He's made appearances on Saturday Night Live. He himself has never hosted. Now, it's important to remind everybody.
Blake and Ryan once had it all: beauty, wit, Deadpool box office numbers, and that perfectly staged Instagram flirtation. They were the couple who seemed to laugh at private jokes, sip artisanal matcha, and browse art galleries with effortless charm. Lately, though, the energy has shifted. Red carpets feel colder, calls go straight to voicemail, and Hollywood seems to be sending a quiet, "It's not you, it's actually you" message. Blake is reportedly being labeled difficult, controlling, and more trouble than she's worth for PR purposes, leaving studios hesitant to associate with her as if proximity carried risk. Ryan, once the golden boy known for sarcastic charm and his ability to sell anything, from movies to gin, now finds his image tarnished. What once felt effortless and enviable is unraveling, and the couple's carefully cultivated aura of perfection is slipping under intense scrutiny.
We help each other, we work together so much. The iconic rooftop scene in this movie, my husband actually wrote it. Nobody knows that but you now. He works on everything I do, I work on everything he does, so his wins, his celebrations are mine, and mine are his. I mean, he's all over the...
Let's just say that studios are beginning to see that beneath Ryan's charming smirk lies someone who might want to control every aspect of a project, direct it, run it, and even sue if things don't go exactly as he envisions.
She is confused by the claims in the suit, as her connection to Blake is purely a friendship with no interest in influencing or controlling Blake's projects, end quote. The source insisted, okay, so it's not unnamed, but the source insisted that Taylor did not purposefully plan to be there during the meeting, but it sounds like an admission she was there.
Hollywood isn't interested in Ryan's negative energy when there's already a queue of A-listers ready to rise without a single lawsuit attached to their names. Meanwhile, Blake has been reaching out to her circle, Taylor Swift, other A-list friends, and a few Vogue insiders. But so far, her attempts to rally support appear to be falling flat.
And then we'll talk about everybody making fun of them, like all the A-list celebrities. What are you doing here? Why are you guys here? Do you guys really believe that you're still part of our crew? You crooked weirdos.
It seems even Taylor Swift's famously endless emotional bandwidth doesn't extend to managing a full-blown, lawsuit-fueled PR disaster. Once considered the fairy godmother to Lively's public image and present at nearly every major moment with her and Ryan, Swift was reportedly even in the Manhattan penthouse during the heated confrontation with Baldoni. But now, witnessing the fallout and the bare, unpolished side of the Marvel star, she has decided to step back from the chaos. Lively's inner circle isn't responding either. The group chat is silent, and what was once Hollywood's favorite it-girl network has quietly transformed into a Blake-free zone. Even Colleen Hoover, the author of It Ends With Us, has unfollowed Lively on Instagram and removed all photos, signaling frustration over how the actress handled her debut novel and its film adaptation. Meanwhile, producers and production companies are increasingly distancing themselves from both Blake and Ryan, with some executives reportedly reconsidering deals with Ryan's production company. Projects that used to come to them steadily, like Oscar season screeners, have now vanished without explanation. Invitations to industry parties have stopped, and if they do show up, insiders suggest they're met with glaring stares rather than warm welcomes, signaling that Hollywood's embrace has cooled dramatically. In Toro 15. A notable example of this shift is the SNL 50th anniversary event. The couple's unexpected appearance reportedly caused visible discomfort among many Hollywood A-listers, with a majority of attendees allegedly trying to keep them at the sidelines throughout the evening.
And I'm watching this and it's just hilarious because they do this publicity stunt, right? They did this publicity stunt last night where they went on
It's clear that after facing this kind of backlash from friends, colleagues, and producers, regret starts to set in. Blake and Ryan are now reflecting on their choices, and by reflecting, it might very well mean they're going through an existential crisis. Blake Lively, who built her image as effortlessly chic, approachable, and designer-savvy, now appears to regret her decision to sue Justin Baldoni. And realistically, it isn't just the lawsuit she's reconsidering. She's likely sitting in a dimly lit room questioning whether stirring up a media storm in the first place was worth it. That same storm, which initially amplified her fame, is now turning against her. The couple seems to be recognizing that taking legal action in the middle of a public crisis isn't exactly the kind of five-star career move anyone would recommend. So, what do you do when a PR disaster escalates toward Category 5 intensity? One might look to Blake and Ryan for guidance, though their approach hasn't exactly been subtle. At first, Lively attempted to position herself as the damsel in distress, claiming the $400 million lawsuit and Baldoni's PR efforts were severely affecting her emotional and mental well-being. She even leaned into the Me Too narrative, framing herself as a victim of a predatory figure, hoping to gain sympathy while the public watched the drama unfold.
Be able to release snippets to the media without the full context. That's what she said. That's what she did. She alleges that she's a Me Too victim.
She alleged that she and her family couldn't leave their home due to the harsh treatment from A-list actors and producers, placing all the blame squarely on Justin Baldoni. However, Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, moved quickly to refute these claims. He pointed to Ryan and Blake's attendance at the SNL 50th anniversary event as evidence that the couple is not experiencing isolation or emotional distress, arguing that their public appearances contradict the narrative of suffering they've been presenting.
You know, I'm unaware of anybody, frankly, whose wife has been sexually harassed and has made jokes about that type of situation. I can't think of anyone who's done anything like that.
If they can show up at a high-profile event smiling and composed, it suggests they're managing well in their personal lives, too. Combined with the evidence on Baldoni's website and Adam's testimony in court, these points are being used to challenge and potentially dismiss Lively's Me Too claims entirely.
I told them that I wasn't in the best place. I told them that I was exhausted, that I haven't given myself time to.
When her previous attempts to gain sympathy didn't land, Blake turned to a tactic familiar to any parent who has made a regrettable decision, hitting the family-first angle. You might be wondering how this works. The approach is simple. Get photographed at a high-society horse event with your daughter, because nothing says, "I'm just like you," quite like an emotionally stressed Hollywood actress calmly riding a horse. It was a carefully crafted PR move designed to showcase her as a relatable, grounded parent amid the chaos of a public legal battle. One can almost imagine the PR team in the background whispering, "Quick, make her look like a family-oriented star who just happens to be embroiled in legal drama." Horseback riding is wholesome. Everyone loves horses. With these images circulating, Lively publicly emphasized her regret over filing the lawsuit against Baldoni, claiming it prevented her from enjoying calm, quality time with her daughters. She framed herself as overwhelmed by her busy schedule and the emotional weight of the lawsuit, leaning once again on the damsel in distress narrative with a maternal twist to appeal to women worldwide. While this type of content might create the illusion of returning to normalcy, Hollywood insiders, producers, and casting directors remain skeptical. Even Lively's close friends have engaged only minimally, such as liking an Instagram photo of her at the event, signaling caution. Studios are hesitant to risk her involvement in future projects, wary of potential PR fallout. Whether Lively has accepted that her Hollywood career may be on shaky ground is unclear, but Ryan, by contrast, seems to have come to terms with the possibility that their once bright industry trajectory may be irreversibly affected.
I think that Ryan Reynolds, Kate thinks Kate thinks he's super frenemy with me, or even just that he hates me. I could see him.
The Deadpool actor has remained largely silent since Baldoni filed the $400 million lawsuit against him, focusing all his energy on managing and countering the legal battle. Alongside this, he launched his own PR campaign, carefully shaping his public image as humble, calm, and innocent. The goal of this strategy is to let his personality speak for itself, aiming to win favor not only with Hollywood insiders, but also with the court, presenting himself as composed and trustworthy amid the controversy.
Will we maybe see a Deadpool 4? Oh God, no. My wife and children will divorce me, and
The kids will divorce you?
I have no prenup with any.
Recently, Ryan Reynolds was photographed navigating the crowded JFK airport with his assistant, appearing tense and serious while traveling alone. Blake Lively wasn't with him, reportedly staying home in regret over starting the lawsuit battle with Baldoni. Ryan seemed to be heading to a court hearing, and his appearance was carefully composed. Black baseball cap, yellow hooded sweatshirt, skinny slacks, white sneakers, and a duffel bag slung across his body, presenting himself as down-to-earth and composed. His posture and expression conveyed tension, perhaps designed to elicit sympathy. Meanwhile, both Lively and Ryan submitted a request for dismissal in court. Lively characterized Baldoni's $400 million lawsuit as pure revenge, asserting that it was an attempt to make her life miserable and that the court should dismiss it as frivolous. She argued that instead of holding onto some imagined grievance, Baldoni was weaponizing the legal system for vengeance, with his lawyer insisting on extracting a fortune and publicly damaging the couple. Lively also sought to counter financially, demanding attorney fees, damages, and punitive costs, effectively signaling, "If you're going to drag me into this nonsense, make it worth my while." Her legal team invoked California Civil Code Section 47.1, which bars retaliatory lawsuits connected to public disclosures about sexual harassment, framing Baldoni's suit as retaliatory. In essence, Lively wanted the court to recognize that Baldoni's public vindication and Hollywood respect were causing her mental distress and to prevent further media coverage or industry fallout. At the same time, Ryan's legal team emphasized that he was merely a supportive spouse, with no active role in the dispute, portraying him as someone caught in the crossfire. "I'm just here for the popcorn, folks." The strategy for both appears to be positioning Lively and Ryan as wrong parties while countering the massive lawsuit financially and publicly, challenging Baldoni's claims and attempting to protect their reputation in Hollywood, where public perception and professional relationships remain fragile amid this high-profile legal and media drama.
Reynolds is now trying to dismiss the case against Justin. And what's crazy about it is it's so emotionally charged. I can't help but believe he wasn't instrumental in writing this motion.
In other words, the Manhattan penthouse incident and Ryan's statements about Baldoni being a deranged predator can be seen as his way of supporting his wife, rather than personal animosity. His solo appearance at the airport also signals to the public that he's keeping some distance from Lively's aggressive lawsuit, presenting himself as separate from the legal battle while still maintaining a supportive stance.
I felt like it was very aggressive, I agree, and I can't fault somebody for wanting to stick up for their partner, but there were parts of it as I was reading it, I couldn't help but feel like it was a bit petty. There's like a burn book reference in this thing.
Ryan's request for dismissal was noticeably more subdued than his initial confrontational approach toward Baldoni. Instead of attacking, it was careful, polite, and full of formal requests. He seemed intent on avoiding further provocation. The tone suggested he longed for the days when he and Baldoni were friends and had a solid, positive relationship. Part of this strategy was also aimed at Hollywood, attempting to garner sympathy and present himself as a relatable, individual personality rather than a combative figure in the public eye. However, on April 1st, Baldoni's legal team struck back decisively, putting Ryan in a difficult position in front of the industry. Brian Friedman, representing Baldoni, filed a motion to dismiss Ryan's dismissal request, essentially arguing that Reynolds could not portray himself as a passive bystander. According to Baldoni's team, Ryan was directly involved in the actions being contested and may even be considered a co-conspirator. This move signals that the $400 million lawsuit could extend consequences to him as well, including attorney fees and potentially more financial liability. In court, the legal battle between the two sides continues, with each filing documents, raising objections, and responding to claims. Ryan's team has argued that certain documents shouldn't be considered because they weren't included in the initial filing, but Baldoni's team maintains that this is a weak tactic, emphasizing that Ryan lacks substantial claims. The ongoing exchanges illustrate that the courtroom fight is far from resolved, with Baldoni's team demonstrating strong legal positioning while Ryan's approach appears increasingly defensive, leaving him exposed to continued scrutiny, financial risk, and the growing perception that his dismissal attempt may have been more performative than substantive.
Complaint that Sarowitz and his co-plaintiff filed seeks to fulfill the promise by polluting this court's docket with hundreds of paragraphs of clickbait designed for an audience other than this court, with virtually no bearing on cognizable.
Brian Friedman is showing no signs of backing down. He has highlighted the issue of Ryan Reynolds labeling Baldoni as a defamatory predator in his lawsuit, arguing that Reynolds or his company may have breached a duty of care by publicly defaming someone he was contractually obliged to promote. Under California law, negligent interference with prospective economic advantage is a recognized tort, requiring a duty not to disrupt another party's business interests. If Reynolds was hired to promote a film and then engaged in actions or statements that publicly defamed Baldoni and harmed the project, he could be held liable for damaging the film studio's economic interests. In response, Ryan's legal team is pushing back strongly, seeking to deny the existence of any contractual duty, likely to shield his company from legal exposure. This legal battle is far from over, with both sides continuing to escalate claims and counterclaims. Current developments suggest that Reynolds and his company could face serious consequences if the court sides with Baldoni's interpretation. Updates will continue to emerge as the case unfolds, and those following the story are advised to stay tuned for future developments to see how this high-profile Hollywood legal war progresses.